Renee said our topic for tonight is healing from hurt and past relationships. I put a lot of prayer into what I wanted to share with you guys, and I thought it was best to kind of share a little bit about me. So kind of just for background, I grew up in kind of a toxic, abusive household. I was removed from the home by Child Protective Services in high school. So there was a lot of hurt with that, and I never had a relationship with Jesus until I graduated from high school. So I didn't actually have anyone who really understood me, anyone I could turn to, and I was carrying all of this hurt on my own. And in that, I entered into these awful relationships with boyfriends and friends and people who just didn't care about me. And the issue with that was that we can't just get our strength from ourselves or other people. Our strength needs to come from God. Okay, quick question. How many of you have seen the new Disney movie Encanto? Okay, so all of you. Can anyone share with us a little bit about the character Luisa? Yes.
She's really, really strong, but she feels like she's carrying too much and that she has a lot of weight on her shoulders.
Perfect. So if you didn't hear that, or maybe you haven't seen the movie, so Luisa, her superpower in the movie is that she's super strong. Everyone depends on her. But then her whole song is about how she's carrying all this weight on her own. She's carrying every family burden. And that's what happens to us. We crack under the pressure when we're relying on ourselves for our strength. The only person who can really help us heal and help us deal with this is Jesus, because he knows us better than we know ourselves. And when we're not turning to God and not finding our validation in our relationship with God and in ourselves as being a beloved son or daughter of God, we're finding our validation in people who are hurting us. That's why maybe you get into a fight with your parents and then you go talk badly about them with your friends and maybe they're not a great influence to you. Or for me, I didn't have a relationship with my parents. I found a boyfriend that treated me the same way. But then we tend to hold these grudges. We carry this hurt around with us when we don't let go of it. And it's so hard to try to forgive people that have hurt us. And you might say I don't want to forgive so-and-so. They said this to me 5 years ago. But that really gives the control over to the person who hurt us and not to God. And carrying these grudges is just more hurtful in the end.
It's just a don't worry.
Yes. So, one thing that I really struggled with, even after I started believing in God and going to Mass, was even just the thought of my mom. Family members, or maybe I ran into someone in public, they'd be oh, how's your mom? One time I looked someone in the face and said, I don't know, I don't talk to her, hopefully she's dead.
Yeah, say that better.
Would you ever want someone to say that about you?
No.
Exactly, you wouldn't. And do you think God wants you to think that about someone?
No.
Because as much as we hurt because of someone and we might resent them for that, God created them too. And God would not do the same to us. When you go to confession, and God willing make a good confession, God isn't saying, they did this one thing, I can't forgive them. I don't want to forgive them for that. God does not do that to you, and he never will. So we can't treat people the same. And I struggled with this for a while, for years. And I went on a retreat in my freshman year of college, and we did 4 hours of silence, and I was trying to pray about something else, and it just came back to me, pray for your mom. I was I do not want to, I don't want to pray for that one, I don't owe her anything. And I did, and I was okay, God, she treated me terribly. And you're not trying to convince me otherwise, I'm not going to be convinced otherwise. And I don't want to forgive her. But this is hurting me. She has so much control over my life. And just after praying for hours and hours on this, this weight was lifted off of my shoulders. And as hard as it is, again, I keep saying it, to forgive people, and as much as you might not want to, That's the only way you can really heal. But the only way that we can forgive people and be released from all of this pressure and hurt that we're experiencing is through God. Because He's the only one who wants us to heal. He's the only one who knows how we can achieve true joy. Because if we're seeking it in others, we're really just going to crumble. We're not going to be able to sustain any sort of happiness if we're only looking for it within ourselves.